Hi, Alan Schimmel at DevOps.com here at day 2 of the DevOps Enterprise Summit 2015. And we've got a couple of friends of ours from HP here today. We have John Jeremiah.
Hi, Alan. Ashish Kuthiala.
And Ashish Kuthiala. I happened to be talking to John and Ashish about the show, and I said, hey, let's record this for our viewers. So guys, what impressions of DevOps Enterprise Summit so far?
I could start, and maybe John, you could build on it. But this is a great, I would call it a validation point, perhaps, because when you often hear about DevOps, it gets associated with the smaller startups, it gets associated with the web scale kind of companies. But I see, and we see at HP Enterprise, a lot of our customers looking at DevOps and wanting to adopt that and adopt those principles to help with their software delivery and quality. And so there's a large play for DevOps at the enterprise scale that, big companies, Fortune 100, 200 companies. When you come here and you hear a lot of the customers share their successes and how they're, walking through their journey and, what they're learning, and they learn from each other, this conference is a great venue for that.
Absolutely.
No, you're right. It's validation that, DevOps is real in the enterprise. It wasn't so many years ago that DevOps was a fringe movement. DevOps is real, and it's happening in the enterprises. Listening to companies like Target and Capital One and Ticketmaster. These are big companies, USAA, telling a story about how they're doing continuous delivery, how they're accelerating delivery. It's amazing for me to hear it, and it's amazing to hear it, the reality of what they're doing and the innovation of what they're doing. So it's been a great show.
I mean, when we talk about big companies doing DevOps, we recently had an interview here with a couple of folks from the HP IT team.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was talking about HP's own DevOps journey. And when we talk about big companies, HP's not small either. And they've had their own DevOps journey where you guys are using DevOps to better deliver and better serve your customers.
Absolutely. So, Ralph Lauer, our HP IT CIO, was here on main stage, and he shared how we do DevOps internally. And that's just for the HP IT organization, right? And so that's an organization that serves about 300 to 350,000 employees. It's a large-scale organization, right? Faced with the same business problems of delivering at the speed of business, how do they retool themselves, people, the tool chains, culture, and they've been doing a phenomenal job at it. But that's, one of the organizations within HP that's actually doing DevOps.
Right.
We have several product groups internally because we deliver services and software products to our external customers, and there's a lot of adoption of DevOps within these different groups. And we just launched a very interesting and very engaging competition, as if you would call it, within HP. I'll let John talk about it a little bit because he led that.
Okay.
John, why don't you talk about the HP DevOps days?
So I will. Two things, right? First thing was watching and listening to Ralph and Raphael and Olivier on stage today sharing the story. I had one word, and I didn't tweet it, I should have, which was proud. I was incredibly proud to listen to them share their leadership, how they're forward thinking, and how they're rethinking what IT looks like. I came from IT, I've been an IT leader. I know how hard it is to do what they're doing. And not only are they doing something that's amazing, adopting DevOps internally, but they're doing it while we're transforming our organization into 2 companies.
Right.
I mean,
a lot of moving parts.
It's not as if everything was quiet and they did this. They did this during a time of great chaos. So kudos to them.
Yeah.
Kudos to them. It's an amazing story. DevOps is about culture. DevOps is about people sharing. And we've started that internally. Last week we held an internal DevOps day. We had 15 presentations around the world. We had presenters present for 30 minutes each, shared how they're doing DevOps, how their teams are doing it, and it became a culture and a sharing opportunity. And so Ralph sponsored it with us. We spent time in Asia Pacific. I was up at 2 a.m. moderating sessions. It was. I'm glad I didn't get recorded very often, but we did it from there. We then followed the sun. We went to London, and in London we had 6 presenters share their stories. And then we came to California, and by the end of the day, 15 different people had told a story internally about how they're doing it. Everything from people in our services practices who are helping governments do DevOps, from product teams who are building and sharing on open source their solutions for DevOps, to teams that are just doing it. And it was amazing. It was a fantastic event. It's one of the things that coming here today, this week, just reinforces how powerful this is.
Are you going to do that again, an internal DevOps days?
Well, the feedback has been astoundingly positive. We're going to actually take one of the best presentations out of the group. We're going to pick one of them and bring them to London with us. We have our annual conferences in London this year in December,
great.
and so they'll present one of the sessions in London. And then we are going to start to plan, and I have already put a pencil in around the calendar of February-ish, and we're going to pick a date and we're going to plan it. We did this on 8 weeks' notice. We decided to do it, and we just did it, and everyone was standing around looking at us going, wow, you just did that.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do it again, and it'll be probably early next year.
Were any of you fellas here last year for the DevOps Enterprise Summit?
No, I was not.
No?
No, I couldn't make it. No.
So I will tell you, the big difference I see this year is something that you both mentioned early on, which is last year we had lone examples within a vertical of companies doing DevOps. Today we're seeing such a broadening, whether it be in the technology space where you might expect it, or finance, or insurance, or health. Just large organizations and not the unicorns, the horses.
The horses.
And that's what I see here. I'm going to wrap up with one last question that you can both answer, and that is, where do you see this going in the next 3 to 5 years?
That's a very interesting question because I'm actually writing something that should be out soon that doesn't go out so far 3 to 5 years, but the next couple of years. I think in 3 to 5 years, the way, and Kurt Bittner, who's
From
analyst
Forrester.
at Forrester, said it really well in one of the panel sessions I held. He said in 3 to 5 years, people won't ask what is DevOps.
No.
It'll just get adopted. And there's if you look at DevOps today, I like to draw an analogy where cloud was 3 to 5 years ago. It's kind of important. We need to do it. Don't really know quite how to get started. Let's just experiment in it. There's so many ways to do it. So that thing will go away completely altogether. The interesting part is with DevOps, what I'm finding is it's not just the IT leadership that's kind of interested in adopting the principles of DevOps. It's the business itself that's sometimes driving the IT business, IT organization, and pushing them to look at DevOps so that they can deliver at the speed of business.
Yeah.
So in the next couple of years, leading up to 3 to 5 years, I see a lot more larger scale adoption. And like you said, it's actually cutting across the silos, and business and IT teams, and within IT teams, the testing, development, operations teams are all getting involved. Things like security and DevOps are going to become really important in the next couple of years. There's a lot of positive momentum around this.
So I think what's going to happen, I agree with Ashish. I think in the next 3 to 5 years we'll see more and more companies adopting it. But I think it'll be different than what happened with Agile. With Agile, some companies adopted Agile, and it was a mandate, and the CIO said, we will do Agile. And then they implemented what's called Water Scrumfall, which is pretend Agile, right? It has the trappings of Agile.
Agile in name only.
Only in name. Without the benefits, without the value, without the culture that goes with it. That won't work in DevOps. If a CIO, a leader says, we're going to do DevOps and we don't do DevOps, the market and the speed of what happens in the market will be disruptive. They're going to have to change. And so what I think is the adoption is going to happen, and we're going to see some leaders kick off and start to disrupt their competition. And that will be a forcing function that will drive companies to say, oh my, USAA is implementing new banking products every 3 weeks, every hour. They're innovating so fast, and so what will happen is their competitors are going to see that and realize we've got to do something similar. We've got to be like them. And so those are the things I think that will be really evident. We'll start to see more and more of that.
Yeah, I think you'll see I know all the rage today is wealth inequality. We're going to see a DevOps inequality between companies who do and companies that don't, with that gap growing.
Just to add to that, we talk about innovators disrupting the market. If you take the example of, I'll just pick one, I'm not being biased or anything, but Apple's music service, right, iTunes, it innovated and it left some competitors behind.
Sure.
Well, they've been out-innovated.
Yeah.
They've been out-innovated already by
disrupted.
Spotify, and they've been disrupted. So it's a really short cycle now for innovation, and it's really rapid.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to get there before your competitors,
you're done.
You're done.
Absolutely. And we're done. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of DevOps Enterprise Summit 2015. This is Alan Schimmel for DevOps.com.